Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 21. Welcome back to our series, Building a City in Minecraft. I know, it's been forever since the last episode, and it was forever before then. It's crazy. I'm not going to stick around for too much because I have a whole end kind of tour and explanation here at the end of the episode. So I'm actually just going to leave it to music this time, and I'll catch you back in the closing. See you then. And now we're back to the tour section of the video. As promised in the beginning, I figured that this would be the best way to show the builds off this episode and some of the work I did off camera here. I wanted to take you guys on a walk through the park. Now, there are going to be some sections that you see will just be bare grass. They're not fully done yet, either because I didn't have time to finish it. I kind of ran out of time a little bit. They will be done by next episode. Or one of them, I want to show you a little bit about how I actually did some of the decorating. So you can see here, like the contrast, right? This left, unfinished. This is just the baseline, trees are in, versus the right, here's more finished. This has actually had, a lot of work done. I've gone through and put all the grass and the bushes and everything, and even like a little bit of stuff under the trees. But I want to walk you through, and we're going to take this way first, up this way through the park, and to our first structure here, coming around the corner. This is a set of bathrooms. The architecture style behind this is a very dark, kind of stony texture. It looks a little strange right now. You're gonna have to just forgive that. This will make more sense next episode when we start working on more sections over here, because like Central Park, I want this park to have a series of different architectural styles throughout the park. And over here is going to be a little bit more of an older kind of castle-y kind of architecture, kind of a play on that. Much like Central Park has its own castle, I want to have a small castle too. So that's what this is referencing, and so it will make more sense when the castle's over that way. Here is one of my favorite spots. It's a little playground that I made, and of course the swing sets, which I just changed out the colors, and this sand pit. But I love this space because you get some great views of the builds, and some builds I did off camera there. Some great views of the builds of today's episode from this vantage point, and some of the builds around here that really shine from the vantage. To over here, which is one of many future lawn spaces that will be in this park. It's not all just going to be forest. There's going to be lawns that theoretically you could lay down on and things like that. And I figured this would be a good spot right in front of the library. Again, you can see those lights, street lights, and all of the tram lines going across the road there. Definitely think it really helps bring this together. It's starting to feel a lot more finished now. Yeah, and you can get that view of the Plaza Hotel there. Love it so much. And of course, this comes out to this entrance here next to the library, where you get this view of the cliff coming along this way. Now we can take this lower path. We have those gazebos up there. Look really nice from down here. All these little areas, just a little bit of flowers coming in, a lot of these bushes coming along the outside. Really trying to make you feel enclosed in this space. Like it's all natural. Some more rocks in this way, and this is, of course, the side entrance here that gets a great view of that corner building there. Walking up this way. Is fantastic. There's a little seating area here, some benches you can come sit. Such a good view. I really wanted to make sure when I was placing trees in this park that I was preserving and creating a lot of viewpoints like this to try to give reason for you to walk out here and be able to just see this and get these really great photo finished, kind of beautiful shots here. I spent a long time curating some of these angles. Some of them were accidental, and I found out later, and I was like, okay, I have to preserve that. This is definitely one that was accidental, but I added this tree in after I noticed that there was this kind of gap here to try to further push in the viewpoint to really hug this building here, make it really shine in this part of the park. And I love the view looking down this way. I also love it from the bottom. And see how well that looks coming around here, curving around. Now the thing is, I built this path before these rocks, but when I built this path, I knew I wanted it to curve, but of course that doesn't make any sense for a path that's people using it to avoid having to go all the way around. It would be as straight as possible. So I wanted to add in these rocks here to give a reason why the path curves around them. And I think it definitely works. You can see these like 3 rocks here carefully just curving around, and they're very small rocks. They're just a few blocks here, but they really accentuate what I wanted this area to be. Yeah, I want to show you guys how I actually design these spaces just to give you an idea. So in Axiom, you can have saved hotbars here. So I have this one saved for when I'm doing decorating terraforming. And so the first thing I always start with is a little bit of podzol to represent dead leaves in some spots that collect. So just kind of thinking like, okay, well, they collect underneath and around trees a little bit. You know, they might collect along the fence. So you have to imagine leaves over time would blow into these spaces and kind of fill up. And then adding in coarse dirt where there'd be a little bit of grass dying, you know, underneath trees and things like that. And then I want to add some bushes around here. And I know I want some dead stuff underneath that. I'm just going to add in a little bit of podzol and that coarse dirt right into this area along here where I'm going to add bushes. So next thing, I will be adding these bushes. So I'm going to add a little bit here. And like I said, I want to add a bunch here. Then we're going to add a little bit more bush here around the playground. Going to bring it up this side of the hill and all around here. Bring it around, just make sure there's not a lot of straight lines, obviously, because bushes, unless they're manicured, aren't going to be growing in perfectly straight lines. And then I always go in with large ferns just to help add a little bit of depth and kind of color to the bushes. I add them around there, here, just in some spots to really add some difference. You can see how it just adds a little bit to these shrubs here. Then I'm going to look for bright spots where there's not a lot of tree cover, namely over here. And then we're just going to kind of go ham with these wildflowers. I'm going to just add them in roughly to start here randomly. And then we're going to add in some of these smaller ferns to look like kind of weeds growing up next to them. And we're just going to start coming around, and we're really going to spam in the grass here. I made sure to add lots and lots of grass. Really, again, make it feel overgrown and full in. Obviously being careful not to destroy the work we already did, you know. Oop, drop that on the ground. So now that we got some of our grass in, we're going to go with these ferns, and we're just going to very sparsely add some of these in to these grass sections again, just to mix it up just a little bit there. And there you go. Now this section here is a bit more bushy, a bit more filled in what I'm looking for. You can see how that really adds to the view. It kind of clears it up. Whereas over here, you can see it's very open. You can see long distances. That's not what I want in this space. What I want is this. You can see here the progress that we've made, and you can also see some of the plans that I've already started with where paths are going to go. I have a drawing in real life on a piece of paper that I did almost a year ago when I was actually planning out this park in its entirety, which is going to end up being about this big or so when it's fully completed. And I've been working based off that drawing, but obviously adding in like the bathroom and things like that have been modified a little bit to exactly what I want in this space. And I'm going to show you under the earth here. It's a little hard to see. I don't know how YouTube is going to work this well, but there is gray wool down here. In fact, I'm going to open up my inventory because I have a night vision potion that I can drink for this occasion. There you go. So you can see under here now that it has this gray wool. So when I first started planning this park, I went in with the gray wool. You can see there, and I just kind of outlined where I wanted the cliff and rocks to be. And then I went in with the grass blocks and I started outlining layers connecting the rock to the ground. And I just started adding and getting rid of some grass blocks and adding more grass blocks to get the exact shapes that I wanted. And then I would add in the trees, decorate it like you see, and then start adding in buildings on top of those spaces to fit in exactly where I wanted on the plateaus. I am not an expert terraformer, not really good at it. I was really freaked out when I started it. Part of the reason why there's no time lapse of it, because I was really freaked out while doing it. I was not sure it was going to go over very well or look very good. And even now, it's not perfect. I'm not about to claim that this is amazing terraforming, but I like it enough that I'm willing to keep it. I appreciate what it's doing, and I think it's coming across in the way that I want it to. Yes, I'm really excited for this episode. I love a lot of the builds I did. This is one I did off camera shortly after I finished the Plaza Hotel here. We still have our night vision on. It'll go away eventually. It kind of helps us see everything, to be fair. You can see the corner building here that was the first thing I worked on after the park, and it's kind of the first thing I had the time lapse for. But yeah, anyways, you're gonna have to just deal with the night vision here at the end. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. If you did like it, please think about liking and subscribing. There is going to be 2 episodes next week, 1 episode for this series and another episode of something else, and you'll just have to see what that is when it comes out. I'm really excited for the next episode. The next episode is going to be all about doing some more park stuff here, but also doing some of the parks around the city and redoing some of the parks that I really don't like anymore. Namely this one, but also some of these other parks around that either have never been finished or need work. And I love this shot down here, especially just to end it out here. Really love this corner shot looking up at that build. Yep. So I'll see you guys next week. Bye.